Each person in humanity has an individualized consciousness. And when the whole of humanity is together, there is formed a collective consciousness. Now, this collective consciousness would be very useful to bring about earth peace through self-peace.
I'm curious to know what remained of your human self when you entered those states of Samadhi or enlightenment.
The human self is the man of clay, and the Atma which enters Samadhi is the divine ray. Now the story is between the ray and the clay. The clay is the physical body made of bones and flesh and blood and neurons, electrons, protons, because it's an alchemy of total transformation, where the lower takes the place of the higher.
Yogiraj, welcome on Just Tap In. What are you most excited about right now globally and in your life?
Well, as a yogi, I do not get excited about anything. My mind and my consciousness are still, asthita prajna, but I do get focused to serve humanity as my larger self. And in that focus, I give each one the transmission he sorely needs to evolve his consciousness. That's my work.
And when you refer to the larger self, what are you referring to there?
When I refer to the larger self, each person in humanity has an individualized consciousness. And when the whole of humanity is together, there is formed a collective consciousness. Now, this collective consciousness would be very useful to bring about earth peace through self-peace. But the collective consciousness is disturbed by the wayward nature of each individual mind, darting hither and thither like deer and hind. They are not steady. And here starts the trouble, and here starts the technique to solve the problem of the frittering mind. The consciousness is always steady, still. It's an awareness. But disturbing the consciousness are the waves of thought and mind, and each individual has a mind of his own. So the purpose of today's work, our work, is to bring about a United Minds organization. We already have a United Nations organization, but we should get now a United Minds organization, that they should think in harmony, not necessarily the same ideology, but think on their different ideologies in a cooperative way, so a collective solution, a win-win solution can be found for earth peace through self-peace.
I've also heard you say in your transmissions that the yogi's mind is completely different from the thinking and rational mind. And in order to get to those states of stillness, samadhi, bliss, you have to break the frame of mind from which we're operating from in the Western world. Where would you start in order to start giving us that framework of breaking this mind to reach those inner states of peace from which you're coming from in this conversation?
Well, there are two things which I recommend in my teachings and my transmissions. The first is, I give those people a simple technique of rhythmic breathing, tension-free, with concentration sovereign key. This method is called the science of Kriya Yoga, the rhythmic breathing, which everybody can practice on their own and bring ease and order in their daily lives. The second way I give is because there's a paucity of time, there's a shortage of time, and wars and hatreds are tending to reign upon even the peaceful society and communities of this world. In order to fortify them against these disturbing circumstances of wars, race hatreds, terrorism, I myself give them a transmission called the Shiva Path. Now, in this, I have told people, I said, look, dear souls, let's take it like this, that every disciple is a mind. The mind is like turbulent waves in a lake. And the master is like the cloudless sky, undisturbed and constant, undifferentiated. Like today is a cloudless sky, beautiful sky. Not a cloud, not a bird, no ripples, no disturbance. That is the state of mind of the consciousness of the master, overlooking the turbulent minds of the disciples like the ripples of thought in a mind's lake. Now, I have made a formula and I've told everyone before I give them a still mind state. I have told them, I have made a formula that if any mind, but when I say mind, I mean the disciple. And when I say the consciousness, I mean the master. When any mind is attuned to an undifferentiated consciousness, then that mind shall become that consciousness of the master to the degree of its attunement to that consciousness. And this maxim, this rule, definition has been tried out by many people, that when they look at me with their restless mind, their mental chatter subsides and they still into my consciousness. I have demonstrated this very often to people on the screen, on the direct talk. Formerly, they didn't let us do it because they had certain regulations of not giving a practical state of Samadhi on a podcast. But now I think from the last 40 to 50 years, regulations and permissions must have changed. And therefore, let us see. So these are the two methods. One is by direct experience and the other is by giving them a technique which they can practice on their own to bring ease and order in their daily lives.
You've also said that the masters don't waste time and that the world at large, we're getting late and it's time to help humanity. When you refer to these masters as yourself and others around you, why are they no longer wasting time, as you said, now that regulations have changed?
Utilizing time. Why are the masters not utilizing time to bring about peace and order in the world order? That's what you mean.
I'm saying why they no longer waste the time and they're really coming in with these teachings so powerfully, giving those Samadhi experiences in a podcast like this to the mainstream, where it was no longer allowed before. Why have those regulations changed?
That you should ask the people who are the regulators of the podcast and the digital system, which I know very little, but I'm ready to give that experience. And if people are ready to disarm their attitude and sit like a child of 5, there's no harm. I can give a direct transmission right here on this podcast. We can do it now. You can do it a little later after you've asked a few questions, as you choose.
So you're saying that people are feeling more open, especially in these times that we're in?
People are more open in these times that we are in because necessity is the mother of invention. And they're trying to invent ways and means whereby they can get over their agitated state of mind where terrorism is rampant, wars and skirmishes are not uncommon, and they can really do nothing about it externally because that depends upon the military personnel and the political heads of state. So this simple man tries to find a way of hieing inwards, a way of inner peace. He tries to look within. And when he tries to look within, and when he tries to be open to any peaceful transmission, that makes him more sensitive because he has no mental resistance. And therefore, the consciousness, the awareing consciousness, seeps into the mind of the agitated mind of the person and calms his ripples of thought. We must remember that as long as there are ripples of thought in the mind's lake, you cannot see the moon of your delight. That means you cannot see the inner consciousness, which people call God. So it is first necessary to still the mind. And that can be done by a method I have evolved called Shaktipath, or bestowing a state of, what is a state of Samadhi? What is the state of tranquil consciousness? It is a thought-free state. Samadhi, one of the explanations of Samadhi, it is a thought-free state of tranquil awareness. That is the state of Samadhi, one of the states at least. And when you are thought-free, then you enter the portals, the beginning of enlightenment. But first you must get rid of mental chatter and unnecessary thoughts. Training does it by the practice of Kriya Yoga. The second method that does it is called Guru Krupa, the grace of the master. If I sit before people and they are attuned to me, their mind must still and must wear the clothes, must wear the spirit of my consciousness and shed the garment of their disturbed thoughts.
Our world is shifting faster than ever, and it's so easy to feel small in the middle of all of this. Imagine being part of a movement, a tribe that is not just talking about the change, but actually living it. That's why I created The Deep Dive, a living spiritual ecosystem where every single day we go on a journey to remembering our most authentic self. Our members have joined from all walks of their awakening, and it's been such a blessing to witness all of the soul relationships that are already forming. As a community, we start every day with simple, powerful activities, and we're beginning to start envisioning the kind of world that we want to experience. This is way more than exclusive content or just another spiritual Netflix. This is about integration and leaving behind a legacy. If you're ready to move beyond knowing into becoming, then visit the link in the description or scan the QR code on screen right now to learn more. I'd be honored to co-create history with you. What would you say is the differentiating factor between a master and an avatar?
The distinguishing factor between a teacher, that is a guru, a master, that is a Sadguru, and an avatar, who is the descent of a Sadguru in order to do work for earth peace. The distinction between the three is this, that the teacher informs, the master transforms. The teacher gives you the menu. This is Kriya Yoga. This is Mahamudra, this is Jyoti Mudra, this is Paravasta, this is Nabhi, Kriya, all the techniques he gives you, and you have to learn it like you learn in a school. So a teacher informs you and shows you the direction to self-realization. The master does not do that. He does not go according to the systematic thing of, let us say in Kriya Yoga, we have the Omkar Kriya, the Pranayam Kriya, the Mahamudra, the Jyoti Mudra. He doesn't do that. He sits in front of you and directly transforms what is needed to be transformed. That which is forming an obstacle in the mind of the disciple and preventing him to get to his own divine consciousness, that obstacle is removed by the master. So the teacher informs, the master removes the obstacle and transforms the disciple. But the avatar who comes, avatru, avatar means the Messiah. He who comes down from on high, he's already a Sadguru, a liberated master, but he comes down for the world cause. There's not much difference between the Supreme Sadguru and the avatar, except the avatar comes for a public cause, and the Sadguru treats individually for each individual personally, as well as the whole world at large, depending upon the work of the Sadguru. But the avatar definitely comes to establish dharma and righteousness upon this earth. Dharma means the balance of the three gunas of sattva, luminosity, raja, activity, and tama, inertia. There are three gunas on this earth, which I call the electron, proton, and neutron. So the sattvic electron, the rajasic proton, and the tamasic neutron, all these three gunas are balanced, because if they get out of balance, then there are world wars, hatreds, crimes. When the avatar comes and balances these gunas, he uses two methods of doing it. One is by teaching people meditation, which is the subtler method. The second method is by teaching them practical work classes. And the third method, if they don't listen and the world is at stake, he may even have to go into battle. The theater of operation would be to lance those mindsets which are too blooded with cancer and give them a new mindset. So the work of the avatar is to defend the righteous and to destroy the evil. Paritranaya sadhunam, vinashanaya cha dushkratam, dharma samsthapanarthaya, sambhavami yuge yuge. So the avatar comes every 2000 years. Now there's a promulgation. They say the avatar is coming every 100 years. And he comes to establish the equilibrium of electron, protons, and neutrons in your personal system and in the world order, United Minds Organization. And he comes to destroy the evil, in the sense, eliminate or transform the evil and protect the righteous. He comes from age to age. This is the work of the avatar. He serves humanity as his larger self. The Sadguru serves humanity on an individual basis and as his larger self. And the teacher serves humanity by giving them the information and teaching, because he can't give the transmission. So the difference between the teacher and the master is one transforms and the one informs and the other transforms. That is the Sadguru.
Could you tell us about the Kalki that has been prophesized to return and come during this age as humanity is shifting into a new cycle of the Yuga cycles? What has been prophesized about this being that will return?
The prophecy of these beings has been done by many, many sources. But I will tell you what I experience and what I know. It has been done by many sources. You have the Oracle of Delphi. Then you have the most important prophecy in the Bhavishya Puran, where they say the Kalki Avatar will come. The Kalki Avatar, who by the Buddhists is also called the Maitreya Buddha, and by the Christians is called the second advent of Christ. Recently, in the Bhavishya Malika, which is a book of prophecies, it has been prophesied that the Kalki Avatar has already been born in a place called Sambalpur in Orissa. After 7 years, that is in 2032, he will declare the dawn of the golden age. Till then, he will lie quiet. These 7 years will be a time of upheaval and wars and stress and tension. We have to bear with this because this is the purging before the Kalki declares the golden age. The age and time is being purged. It's a catharsis and a cleansing of humanity, and therefore the world wars, tensions, race hatreds. We have to get out of all this. In the meantime, there are Sadgurus and masters. I have given the people the earth peace meditation, the earth peace through self peace meditation, to fortify themselves against the evil effects of terrorism and war and hatreds. We must protect ourselves with a technique, Kriya Yoga and earth peace through self peace meditations. These are the techniques and the tools I have given them to work with to protect themselves against these horrendous 7 years which are coming. And therefore, the Kalki will come and establish the Dharma. But my disciples ask me two questions about the second advent of the Christ, the coming of the Kalki Avatar, and the coming of the Maitreya Buddha, which all mean one and the same thing. So he will declare himself in 2032. Now, before this, people are asking me two questions. Yogiraj, some call me Yogiraj, some say Gurunath. How will we recognize the Kalki when he comes? And the second question is, what is our work when the Kalki comes in the next 7 years? Because we will all be here very much alive and kicking. So my answer to them is this. First is about the technique. I said, I have already given you what to do when the Kalki comes. Practice your Kriya Yoga. Spread the message of this rhythmic breathing, tension-free, with concentration, sovereign key. This technique is called the Kriya Yoga. Practice it, soothe your nerves, calm your minds, and bring this peace and calmness of mind to thousands and millions of people as much as you can. Spread it. Then, after you have practiced this self-peace, go for earth peace. I have given on the YouTube a technique called the earth peace through self-peace meditations. Whereas with a sound and vibration of light through your heart and third eye, you radiate love and the beautiful swans and doves of love for earth peace. Do it every day, do it once a week, or do it once a month, full moon. These are the two techniques. So this is your work, which you have to do now and when the Kalki comes. The second question I have answered, and of course, you are sitting and I am sitting as the Sadguru, and you are a sensitive gentleman, and I pray for the best to you. How do we recognize the Kalki when he comes? Well, when the Kalki comes, there are two ways to recognize him. Firstly, you will see that there is a different glow around his person. There's a radiance about him, which you can see and not see. In his eyes, on his face, you will see the radiance. Then you will, in the radiance, you will see an aura called the nimbus. Some may see it, some may not see it. This will depend upon the degree of clairvoyance that they have. So they have to have two things. They have to have clairvoyance and psychic sensitivity also. So the first thing will be an apex and a vortex. Firstly, there will be the nimbus, and that light from his face will be radiating to those sensitive people, will directly be able to see the light. Some in flashes on and off, and some just feel the different radiance of the person. So when you see this light will be radiating and it'll be pushing you back. And like you cannot see the sun, that is very practical and visible. But in a spiritual way, you will have to turn your eyes away from the radiance of the Kalki. Such will be his radiance, but not equal to all, different to others as per their sensitivity and awareness. So first you'll see a pushing of the light. It'll push you backwards like this. When you see him, it'll almost take your breath away and you'll be pushed back. So there'll be a series of vibrations spiraling towards the people who the Kalki sees and looks at. Simultaneously, for the avatar or the Sadguru, you will feel that from his heart, there will be a different reaction. From his face will be the light of electricity, and from his heart, the vortex of magnetism will pull you towards him. You will be attracted towards him from your heart center, from your solar plex where the sternum ends. You will be pulled mysteriously in an uncanny manner. You will not know what it is, but you will be unknowingly attracted towards that person called Kalki. This is how you will feel when thousands or millions of people interact with him. They will be drawn and attracted to him by the vortex of energy like magnetism. And they will be thrown back in awe by the radiance from his third eye and his face. So this is how you will feel him as an electromagnetic phenomena. So actually it is that, if you come to science, I mean, that's what he'll be radiating, He'll be radiating the light to exterminate all negativity of darkness and negativity from you. And he will be pulling you with love in the vortex of his heart to soothe you, give you the healing balm of love. So it'll be a double action. Light and magnetism will be operative in his body. This is how you will recognize the Kalki. This is my experience. And even the Sadguru, when we transmit light and we pull the vortex from our heart. There's the same thing with the Sadguru. But that is not there with the teacher.
Mm. What would you say is radiance from a spiritual perspective, and how can one cultivate more of those inner expressions of radiance so that when we come across other people, we can also bring that healing energy to others around us?
Well, I'll talk about the spiritual later, but let me tell you about the radiance. As the individual practices a yoga method or his prayer or his namaz, whatever it is, his bodies get purified. The physical body gets purified. Then the emotional body gets purified. Then the mental body gets purified. And the intuitional body gets purified. As these bodies go into rarer and rarer realms, they take on a certain radiance. And when you go to the mind consists of electron, protons, and neutrons, the three gunas. The more luminosity or sattva guna, the electron the mind has, the more his radiance will be. The more activity or protons the mind has, he will be like a king, fierce, conquering, administrator, politician. But if he has electrons, he'll be meditator, thinking of people, curing them, blessing them. That is the varna. In India, we have the varna ashram dharma. India is nothing about jati ashram, that's ignorance. The varna is the spiritual. If a man's mind is predominantly electronic and luminosity, he'll radiate the light and the nimbus. If it's rajasic, he'll be an administrator. If it's tamasic, then he will be sleeping all the time, having decadent food, doing all negative things, doing menial work. But humanity is a mixture of all the three gunas. That is a mixture of luminosity, activity, and inertia. The three gunas. And whichever guna predominates in an avatar, it predominates more. Therefore, he has only light, and therefore he is radiating this light. You can see it on people around you, if you sensitively see. You can see it on the people you interview also. They'll be looking like some ancient figure in the history books, archetype. Their faces are like that because due to the meditation, due to their past life association, they cannot help it. They are like that. So this is the radiance, is the majority, the predominance of electrons in the aura and the body of the individual yogi will determine the degree of the radiance which he emits. So but this is still in the sphere of Prakriti or Maya. This is still mind, because mind at its grossest is matter, and mind at its subtlest is light. Light and matter are two poles, two ends of the spectrum. So if your mind, the matter is so refined, that is the nimbus. It is still matter, an indication. Then beyond this matter, there's a state of lightless light. Intense gravity pushes light out of existence. And so, there being no word for this lightless light, beyond that, there is another light. This very light, I call it, for lack of a word, enlightened light. And that enlightened light is consciousness. That enlightened light is very rare to see. And that enlightened light is not shown to earthly people. Only the material light of electrons can be seen by the people on this earth. Mm. Except when an avatar comes in his body of lightless light, which is called the Mayavi Swarup. It's called his Mayavi Swarup, his form of delusion, because to come to earth, he has no karma. He has to take on a body. He has to take on some karma of the others or some work to be done to balance the gunas, and then he incarnates from age to age. That's the secret of light. Unless the light is enlightened, it is not the true radiance of the spiritual essence of consciousness.
What do you feel the Western world has most misunderstood about reincarnation cycles and past lives?
See, as masters and Sadgurus, we do not concern ourselves much about what the Western world thinks or what the Eastern world thinks. We are concerned about the truth. And as we are concerned about the truth, we try to give them the truth. Like if I say I can still your mind, I must create a certain situation, a context, whereby people can sit in front of me, sit with me, just calmly looking at me, and have their thoughts completely subside. Some will have 100% results, some 75%, some 60%, some will have none, depending upon their receptivity. If they have too much of the inertia in them, they won't feel the radiation. If they have Rajo and Tamogun, they will feel it in different degrees, that their thoughts will calm down because they will attune myself. As I've said, if any mind with the ripples of thoughts is attuned to a still and silent consciousness, then that mind, the rippling mind of thoughts, shall become that still and silent consciousness to the degree of its attunement with that consciousness. And this is the linchpin of the guru-disciple relationship. This is the linchpin of the master-disciple relationship, that if he is a true master, the disciples sit before him and his mind must still. It's of a very high master, the high Sadguru. Not all Sadgurus can do it. And I don't want to get personal here, but this is the fact. Like when you listen to me, you're totally rapt and engrossed. As it is, you will be, because you're a very sensitive gentleman from the very beginning. So for you, it's easy. For others, it may be a little more difficult. So the master, you have to put your money where your mouth is. And if you talk, like I have a soul cry, which I call the 11th commandment. I call it the 11th commandment, so people like that. This is the 11th commandment. 10 commandments were given by Moses, but we can't wait for Moses all the time to give the 11th commandment. So we have to become our own Moseses and give them the 11th commandment and the experience. If earth peace is to herald the dawn of the new age, we must all realize humanity, our uniting religion, breath, our uniting prayer, and consciousness, our uniting God. This is the 11th commandment. And in brief, why? Humanity, our uniting religion? Because unless humanity becomes one uniting religion, there can be no peace on earth and goodwill to all mankind. Number 2, breath, our uniting prayer. Why have I chosen the breath? Because breath is the connectus connecti of humanity. The common denominator of humanity is that it breathes. Common denominator is not Hail Mary, full of grace, or Our Father which art in heaven, or Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Jai Ram. They are all good, but one denomination will not agree with it to the other denomination. So I said, find such a connection, a common denominator, doing which we do not offend the sensibilities of the other. You can keep your religions. I adore and respect them, but have one universal religion which binds the whole of humanity, by the self-same cord of breath and love. And to demonstrate this, every time I have a retreat or shibir or satsang or seminar, I breathe through the breath of all the 100, 500 people who come to me, to show them that this is a fact, that breath can bring peace and connect the whole of humanity. Therefore, I give them a practical demonstration, an experiential demonstration. This is so. And consciousness, our united God, is that I must be able to give them the Samadhi, which I give them. Freedom from mind is enlightenment. Freedom from mind is Samadhi. I say this because I know it.
Yogiraj, I'm curious to know what remained of your human self when you entered those states of samadhi or enlightenment.
The human self is the man of clay. And the Atma which enters Samadhi is the divine ray. Now the story is between the ray and the clay. The clay is the physical body made of bones and flesh and blood and neurons, electrons, protons. When you go into a state of Samadhi, the physical body normally remains as it is, getting purified gradually. It takes a longer time, where the protons, neutrons become protons, protons become electrons. It's a lifetime procedure. Till a successful yogi, at the end of his life, his whole body becomes light. It's a radiant light. Some yogis have been known to disappear in light, because it's an alchemy of total transformation, where the lower takes the place of the higher. Just as your guys get a promotion in the army or in your jobs and all, you become a chief or the head of the staff, you become a major, then you become a lieutenant, then you become a colonel, and then you become a general, then you become a field marshal. So also in the spiritual things, there are hierarchies. Each hierarchy of spirituality is determined by the supraconscious states of mind. Leave the body now, I'm going to the mind. To make a long story short, everything gets purified. There are various supraconscious states of mind called the supraconscious states of Samadhi. The first and lowest stage of Samadhi is Vitarka Samadhi, the Samadhi of reasoning. The next stage, which is subtler electrons, protons, and gunas are evolved, is the vichar samadhi, samadhi of deep contemplation. First is reasoning, then the samadhi of meditation. There's a samadhi is higher than meditation, but there's also a meditative samadhi. Then as the brain cells become more and more refined and your neutronic cells are transformed into protons and the protonic cells are transformed into electrons, so there's a preponderance, there's all three gunas in your brain. But if there's a preponderance of sattva gun, then lesser rajogun, and the least is tamogun, which is the neutron. Then your mind enters a state of vast state of joy. It expands, which is called Ananda Samadhi. So your state of mind, from a state of deep meditation, suddenly your mind becomes purified by more electrons and less protons. It's an electroprotonic mind, and the neutrons have disappeared, either fallen off or transformed into protons, and the protons transformed into electrons. Then you go into a state of Ananda Samadhi, where you can see joy. You're floating in an ocean of joy, not your body, just an awareness, floating in an ocean of joy that is called Anand Samadhi. Now, after this, a very crucial state takes place. The third stage, fourth stage of Samadhi is called Smith, Asmit Samadhi. Asmit. That means the Samadhi which is entering, passing through the core of the ego. Ego is the proton of the rajogun, the arrogating principle which gives you the feeling of ownership. I am the greatest. I own this body. You see, all this today's world politics and all today's new business transactions is the undercurrent is all ego, right? Do you agree? It's all ego games they are playing in the world. So when you pass this stage of Ananda Samadhi and you leave the last proton, that is the activity, rajas, your ego is left behind. The individual ego gets left behind and you go to Asmit Samadhi, means where everything is equal. You can see the whole world as a shimmering light. You can see it as one electron. The whole world. This is Sasmit Samadhi. After this is the Samadhi with matter and mind. You are still in a cosmic state of mind. Even if you see the world as bliss, all the houses, the people shimmering with love and joy, all one light. That is the final state of the material Samadhi called the Sabikalp Samadhi or Sampradnat Samadhi. Then from the material Samadhi, when you go to the immaterial Samadhi, you penetrate the star of the third eye of the tunnel. I don't want to get too detailed into this because the public hearing me are simple people. I try to make it simple. When you go from the electron Samadhi, one electron, you enter the state. Then you enter just before the spiritual Samadhi. There's the Samadhi where you have the wave-particle duality. You can see a wave of light and a dot of the electron. Electron is a particle, corpuscular, and light is a wave. So you get into the wave-particle state, and you're seeing your friends sometimes. They are a wave of light, and sometimes they appear as a face. If you see Krishna's face or Christ's face, they will be in the critical state of wave-particle duality. So this is the final stage of matter. Science has not been yet able to discover and find out whether this world is a wave or a particle, whether it is matter or a wave. So we are at this stage in Samadhi where the state of mind experiences the wave-particle duality of the whole of creation. Suddenly you will see a tree and as a burning bush, and that tree will turn a wave of light. Then it becomes the burning bush, the electron. So there's very little difference between the electron and light. The electron is just 1 mile slower than the speed of light. So when your mind is in this state, you are still seeing the whole universe as yourself, but the veil of Maya is still covering you. This veil of Maya is called the wave-particle duality. This is the thin sheet and fiber of light. And then when you go into the true Samadhi, you have to penetrate the barrier of light You have to go beyond the space-time continuum, the wave-particle duality, and go into pure consciousness, which is called Nirvikalp, or higher than that, Sahaj Samadhi, which I give the name as, people call it Kaivalya. I call that state Nirvan Niranjan Moksha. When you go into that final state, beyond the great cosmic ego, which is Maya, then you get to God. That state is Nirvan Niranjan Moksha. Those who know it tell it not, and those who tell it know it not. We as Sadgurus can experience it, but we just give pointers to that final stage for which there are no words in the human language. These are the states of mind. This is what happens to the yogi. He disappears beyond light into pure consciousness. And this is not one life's effort. It is many lifetimes of efforts, thousands and millions of life, till the alchemy of total transformation transforms matter into energy, energy into light, and light into consciousness. This is the alchemy of total transformation. This is the great science of yoga. And mind you, there never has been, nor will be a time when man's spiritual nature shall cease to demand his best and foremost attention.
It almost seems like on that pathway to the highest state of samadhi, the world around you, the fabric of reality starts to shift, and you start seeing it for what quantum physics or quantum science would say, the wave particle duality. Is this why many yogis and masters are able to enter and perform things such as walking through walls, or by location being at two places at one time, levitation, the Siddhis, as we know them in that reasoning?
So, first, let me make a little restitution here. You use the word the fabric of reality, but in truth, it is not the fabric of reality. This whole world is the fabric of duality. Fabric of duality. Joy and sorrow, light and dark, night and day. So this whole world is a fabric of duality. The singularity has no fabric. Naked it stands. It is called the solitary singularity. The naked singularity has no fabric of duality because it is singular and it is naked. That's the name for God, the solitary singularity, the naked singularity. This term they use in quantum physics also, but it's okay. You can use any word in your endeavor to humbly describe what is the ultimate reality, which we can't. So now these things which you have said, walking on water and all these things, they are, according to the true yogi on the path, they are toys by the wayside. They are called Siddhis. As you meditate and practice yoga and meditation, these powers, of telling the thoughts of a mind, reading the thoughts in a person's mind, or, turning water into wine, and say, uh, becoming invisible to the person in front of you. These are called siddhis, that is, powers of the soul. If a yogi practitioner gets attracted by these siddhis, the public will carry him away into name and fame, and his path to God will be destroyed, and he will just become a magician in the eyes of the people. Of course, it will be siddhi magician. You see, because there's a very funny story that I went to London, and I was there, and we were going into a restaurant. So one person told me, he came to me and said to me in my ears, he said, "Excuse me, sir, can you turn the water into wine? So I said, look, I'm no copycat, but I can tell you one thing. I can turn your whiskey into water. So he got back shocked. He said, what are you saying? So I said, no, but because in those days, at the time of Jesus, there was no stoppage on alcohol and liquor. Now people and doctors and health mothers, they're very concerned that people shouldn't drink much. So I thought this mission is better, to turn whiskey into water and stop
Turn it
people from
back.
drinking. So he didn't believe me, and he didn't come here. He got nervous. So I said, come here, don't get nervous. You played a joke with me. You said it in jest, but I'm not telling you in jest. I said, come here with your whiskey glass. Sit down in front of me. Sit down. And he sat down in front of me. And I said, look at me properly. Do you see me? Do you see my eyes? Yeah. So intuitively, you may have been right that I can do these things. Well, here's your glass of whiskey. I just touched it and kept it aside. And then I made that sound. I said, keep the bottle away, otherwise that'll get wasted. Because so he kept the bottle away. So some expensive whiskey had. So I made the sound, the powerful mantric sound. And he took the whiskey glass and he drank it. And it was pure water. So then he got scared. He said, what do you do? What should I do with this? I said, give it to the trees. It won't kill the trees. There's no. And he said, my bottle. I said, that's safe, 30 yards away. So these things, when people tell you, we have to put our money where our mouth is. A Sadguru has to give you he has to practice. And I did it to teach him a lesson that there are people with such powers of mind, but they should not be used for a trivial cause. Later, that person converted and he started doing Kriya Yoga. So it's a good, it did a good deed. It happened in Pune. This, and once it happened in London. Second time it happened in Pune. That person in Pune is doing the Kriya Yoga. I won't mention names because they may like it, they may not like it. So I will just keep it at that. So here's my answer to the Siddhis. But I don't encourage anyone to have Siddhis. If they come your way and they say, please use us, you can use it to alleviate the suffering of people. But you should not do mantras and go run after Siddhis, because you'll be caught in the web of Maya, which is called Maya Jal or Indra Jal. Sammohan Vidya. Do not go into Sammohan Vidya. I'm a person teaching Raj Yoga, the royal Vidya, Kriya Yoga and Raj Yoga.
Where exactly did these structures and disciplines and in a way pathways to this communion with God really come from in the earliest days of the yogis? Where were they receiving this information from?
You see, this information is received from the Ancient of Days. Yoga, not yoga, but yoga, is lost in the night of prehistory. And it is said, I'll give you two explanations, then I'll give you the scientific explanation. I'll give you the first, the explanation of the scriptures. It is said that first, Shiva is the collective consciousness of the universe. He taught Parvati, the divine energy of the universe, the method of uniting with consciousness. So she was able, as the world mother and energy, as Prakriti, as nature, to unite with God also. God taught her that, Shiva taught Parvati that, and he taught her also to spin slower and slower into the universe vortex and get as slow as from light, slower than light to electron, and then how to create creation. This is what the yogic, this thing is. And Shiva taught Parvati, and then there's a whole lineage that they taught Vishnu. Vishnu taught the sun. Krishna taught the sun, and the sun, the lineage of the solar dynasty, the Kriya Yoga came down. This is what the story is. But in a modest way, I would say that yoga first could have begun, or at least the first signs of yoga, when the first Africanus, or the Cro-Magnon man, whichever age there was, I have not studied this paleontology and all. When he first, the quadruped raised his hands and became a biped, that was when he created fire, because his hands were free. After creating fire, many years passed. Then he must have thought of doing some hunting. Then he must have thought of doing some exercise while running. Then he must have discovered the importance of breath to good health. Then he must have turned and twist. They couldn't have started yoga. It must have started with wrestling and throwing the javelin and all these activities. And then it must have developed by the passage of time, which could be quite recent, maybe 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago. But there are many different opinions to this. I don't want to get into that. They're all different stories, but it's very ancient. Yoga means the union of the individual with the universal consciousness. What does yoga mean strictly? What does it mean technically? Yoga is an inner ascent. Yoga is an inner ascent through ever more refined and ever more expanded spheres of mind to get to the God essence consciousness, which lies at the core of your own being. So it's an inner ascent. And all these techniques are inward techniques. The techniques of Samadhi, they are techniques also. Vitark Samadhi, Vichar Samadhi, Ananda Samadhi, Smith Samadhi. Then after that, Sabikalp Samadhi, Nirvikalp Samadhi, and then Moksha. So these are all techniques. And as the man climbs the ladder of the spine, he climbs also the ladder of the mind to get to that still mind state, the thought-free state of mind, of pure consciousness and bliss. That is a total merger with God.
I was also hearing from you that time has been accelerated by the yogis that are in years and years of concentration in the Himalayas in order to bring forth this golden age that we talked about in the beginning through sooner than it was prophesized before. How does concentration affect time in that way, and how these cycles play out for humanity?
You see, this will be a little complex for the people. It's difficult for me to simplify it, but I will try to simplify this. You see, now we must understand that first, yes, through intense concentration, space and time have been shrunk. You go through a time warp where you can lengthen the second and shorten the distance. So if you lengthen the second and shorten the distance, the event comes upon you quicker and the second is lengthened. This is all done by the consciousness, intense concentration of the mind and consciousness. So now let me tell you one thing. That suppose there's a large cosmic cycle. Within this huge cycle, there's another smaller cycle, which is 1/4 that size. There's a cosmic cycle divided into 4. Then there are 4 celestial cycles in that. Now, in that 1/4 celestial cycle, again divided by 4, right? So 1/16th, there's another human cycle, a terrestrial cycle. And the terrestrial cycle again divided into 4 is the human cycle. Okay. Now, the Kali Yuga of the bigger cycle is still going on. But in the smaller cycle, it may be the Treta Yuga. Okay, after Kali comes Treta, Dwapar. It may be Dwapar. In the cycle between the smaller cycle in that, it may be Treta. And the smallest cycle in 7 years, that smallest cycle is going to bring us to the mini Satya Yuga. So there are many Satya, Treta, Dwapar Yugas. Satya, Treta, Kali, Treta, Satya. The Jnana Avatar Sri Yukteswar has laid down a terrestrial cycle of 24,000 years. There's yet a smaller cycle of 12,000 years, 6,000 years. So the cycle goes. So the yugas and their cycles, there can be 4 yugas in a period of 24 hours also. So now you must realize that this is a mini yuga of the vast. It's not the cosmic, nor the celestial, nor the terrestrial. It is the human yuga. So this human yuga of 125 years, that is the yuga of the human yuga. In that, if you divide it in 7 years, the Satya Yuga will come. Have I made this quite clear? So there's wheel within wheel and cycle within cycle in the yugas. And this you cannot get through books, you can get through only your realization. You have to get it through your realization.
And therefore, the states of concentration that we're able to reach within ourselves can actually change maybe the predestined events that are supposed to come into our life. I know you've talked about the difference between destiny and will. So when it comes to, I know in the Western world, this term manifestation has become quite popular. And you just laid out there that when we lengthen the time and shorten the distance, these events and these things that are in our life path can actually come to us sooner than we expected or than we thought.
Yes, but it is dangerous to give certain yogic techniques to a Western world which is engrossed and immersed in the razzmatazz of materialism, lest I misguide them. I've seen their books about manifestation, about getting more money, winning more friends. It's good. They are at that stage of evolution, nothing wrong. But it is material. You cannot just go and manifest things without seeing the other side of the picture. If you manifest something, you'll have to pay for it on the other side. Like there's Newton's law of motion. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. When you use your siddhis or powers to manifest something, in the West it's a great popular thing. Oh, the earth is abundant, the whole world has got abundance and joy and grace and love, and there's all happiness in the this thing. And to do all sorrow, do this little TikTok exercise, or do this knick-knack, and you'll manifest all abundance and good health and wealth. I like this because it's positive thinking, but it has to be sustained positive thinking, not just a whim. Somebody writes a little attractive book and everybody goes gaga over it and nobody achieves the results. So it's not practical. In concentration, of course, you have to see that I will tell you an example which I want to give to the Western world. Do not think you can take anything away from nature or the abundance of nature without paying for it. Once, I won't mention my name or the other people's names. A person went to a yogi and they said, "Look, master, I need a child." Both us, husband and wife, have been praying for a child, and I'm sure that with your grace, this will happen. I said, "Look, it's not mine or your grace. There's no me or I. I'm surrendered. I'm a channel of the Lord. I'm one with Him. Whatever He desires and wishes, He is the Supreme. But I can pray for you and give you blessings." They went away and they came after a year with a little child. They said, "Thank you, Gurunath. It's all yours." I said, no, it's not mine. I told you from the beginning that I don't upset the economy of nature. It was in your destiny, so you got it. And I happened to be the person. They said, no, but we tried before. We couldn't get it before. So I said, when you came to me at that time, that was the time you could get it. And so you think I've given you the blessings, which I have. But the actual phenomena happened from the Supreme. Or your karma, there's no Supreme in this. Another person came to a yogi and he said, please give us a child and this and that. We have tried. So the yogi went into meditation and he said, look, don't ask for this, ask for something else. It's not in your destiny. No, you can give it and all. So that yogi told them, look, you take a piece of stone. It's called a sill. And you take a batta, which is like this, batta. And you can, that thing in which you grind a masala. Do you know, I do not know whether you have any idea of Indian words or cultures. Are you an Indian person? Are you
No,
from,
no.
where are you from?
South America,
Oh,
Colombia.
yes, then you know it. In South America and the villages, the ladies have a piece of stone. And on that,
Mhm.
they have another piece of stone which they roll. And they
Yes.
grind the, right? They do
Yes,
have it.
yes, I've seen it.
And they
Mhm.
grind it. So the stone is called a sill. And this thing, the little thing is called a batta. So they grind that. So the yogi told him, okay, take a sill batta, go to your garden, bury the sill under the ground, and dress the batta up like a baby, put little clothes on it, and bury that under the ground also, and pray to it every day. But I'm telling you, there's no child in your destiny. They said, no, we'll do it. So they went and did it, and they did it for 3 months. And after that, it was found that the lady was pregnant because the sill, the ground, the stone was the cradle, and the batta was the child. Do you understand? I hope
Mhm.
people don't do this because it's not a thing to do. So I have to caution it. That's why I'm not taking names. They got this child. The child grew up. Many children. They said, Guru. They said, uh, uh, Divine Guru. You said there was no uh, child in my destiny, and here's this little girl. She's 10 years old now. So he said, God bless. We'll keep praying. Keep praying. Don't don't leave the prayer. No. But how did you say that there's no child in the destiny? The child is here. You know, he said, look, what you have, be happy. Don't dig too much into it. So they went back. The child grew up. Then that fellow's officer, he got orders he got transferred. When he got transferred, he went away into another house. New owners came into the house. They started gardening. And in their garden, while they were gardening, they hit the silbatta. They hit that stone slab and the silbatta. And after a few days, the people who had been transferred, that child, it died.
Mm.
They went to the Guru. They said, oh no, Guru, you were true. Why did you this thing? I said, look, we had warned you, but because of your stubborn nature, you got this. It's not good or bad, it's a destiny. So this is what happens. You cannot alter destiny. Even though yogis are powerful and they can do a lot, they won't hesitate in a cosmic scenario. They don't interfere. In the case of our great Lahiri Masa, he also had given a blessings to Abhoya and she got a child and they got saved. But there also the lamp was about to go out and he stopped it. Anyway, let's not go too deep into this. Let us carry on. It's a very interesting subject, but we will carry on.
Mm. I know what you mean in the sense that would you refer to this as our life plan, that there are certain events that are meant to happen in our destiny and that we as humans should not intervene into that greater cosmic destiny that was set out for us?
I personally would advise not to do this because you see, when you, in the economy of nature, have you seen those children playing those long balloons they have?
Yeah.
The child squeezes the balloon, the air goes out, doesn't it? But it goes
Hmm.
somewhere else. So also when you squeeze something or some demand and you get it, it has to be paid for something else. It's like the air in the balloon. Did you understand the example of a small child with those long balloons?
I did. I did.
Yes, yes. So when you take something, suppose I've let's not take this karmic thing. Let's take a normal thing. You see, these people, many of these people go and they conduct a bank robbery. It's a very exciting thing these days. Bank. There are many movies in the West. They make of bank robberies and all. But those robbers who bank those $1 billion or $1 million from the bank, it is either in this life or next life they will have to shell it out. They have to cough it out. That's the law of action and reaction. To each one is meted out his exact and proper score. To the truth is truth begot, the liar gets his own. So do no such actions whose reactions you would mourn. So this whole thing is a karmic seesaw. Karma will play its justice. Karma is the law, is this unbribable judge we people call the karmic law. That is also part of it is Newton's third law of motion. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. If you steal $1 million, sometime in this or next life you have to pay $1 million. If you do good philanthropic work, then in your times, next life or this life, somebody will come and do good works to you. So that's why asking for manifestation and these things, if they are not in your destiny, if you get something by manifestation, you get your Rolls Royce or Cadillac, the next life or later in this life, you have to pay for it. Nothing can be got out of nothing in this world of duality. Something comes out of something. You say you can't get something out of nothing. Because if the law of creation, it's a karmic seesaw. Do you understand? So you have to be careful when they write. They wrote a famous book called Manifestation. What was the small book which was written, which had a seal on it? I think you
The
know that.
Secret.
Huh? The
The
Secret.
Secret.
More than the book, I didn't read the book. I like the seal that they put on it. Have you anybody seen that book, The Secret? Huh? Do you like the seal? Better than the book. Yeah. So there's no secret about it. So they must be cautious. They're like little children. They're playing and they want everything, at the same time. You should be cautious of that.
Can karma also play out with our thoughts and the quality of the way that we think, not just our actions in the physical world?
You're very, very right. Your actions in the physical world create physical karma. Your actions in the emotional world create emotional karma. And your thoughts in the mental world create mental karma. That's why they say that even to think evil about a person or think about murdering him or killing him will have a bad reaction. Even that you should not do it in your thought. So the thoughts are your karma in action. They are karma in play. But now you'll ask me, Gurunath, how come there's so much of garbage in our thoughts? Yogiraj, we seem to have 70 to 80% garbage and 20% good sense. And that is only when we go to office and concentrate or we're looking after our family. So this garbage comes from all the nonsense of idle thinking of past lives and this life. And by rhythmic breathing and pranayam, you can burn these negative thoughts. But you have to make an effort and get to a clear mind state through which you can see divine consciousness, but cannot become it. To become the divine consciousness, you have to break the frame of mind and then merge and become divine consciousness. That is the difference between the teaching mind and the transforming consciousness.
Yogiraj, I'm curious to know, what do you feel is Babaji's greatest gift to humanity that has not been yet fully received?
Us. We have not yet fully received ourselves. Babaji gave us as a lotus bud Each humanity is a bud. Ensconced within it is the immortal nectar of life. That is Babaji or God himself. And as each petal in our life opens, we have to make yoga and Kriya Yoga our lifestyle. So as we open the petals of our life, one by one, we express more and more of our divine nature. And the heart essence of our divine nature is Babaji himself, who is us. So in the ultimate finale, beyond the fabric of causation, space and time, in the stillness of stillnesses, in the absolute is the essence of Babaji. And no pressure, in your own good time, you have to flower into the likeness of your own divinity, into the likeness of your own God within, who is Babaji. And this is the purpose of the evolution of humanity. This is the purpose of Kriya Yoga. So he has given us, as the greatest gift of humanity, he has given us humanity itself. Okay? If he has given us humanity itself, if he has given us each individual, in us he has already given himself as the great sacrifice. He has sacrificed himself as the spark of intellect and divine soul so that humanity can evolve from man the brute to man the man to man the God. That's why the great Babaji is known as the great sacrifice, Mahabhinish The Mahabhinish sacrifices himself at the foundation of the earth so that his divinity, every spark, zillion sparks, may enter into the souls of humanity and inward out help them to evolve into the likeness of their own divinity, which is Babaji.
When Babaji came to you, what did you finally realize about the state of human consciousness and where we're heading into in the next coming years?
Well, when he met me, I was not in my physical body. I couldn't be, I was out of it. And I have given the experience many times. I don't want to tout this experience or make a big bravado of it. It's just a natural thing which happened. And I think anyone in humanity sufficiently sincere can get a darshan of Babaji because he is the living soul in us and the answer lies within. But Babaji gave the message to teach Kriya Yoga. I felt that humanity was in its natural state, as it always is, and nothing is too good in humanity, and nothing is too bad. Humanity is as it is. We are not working here with a moral high ground that we are somebody superior and we are going to uplift inferior people. No, we are one of those people in the grueling toil. Shoulder to shoulder and hand to hand, we work with humanity to bring them to the likeness of their own divinity without ever feeling inferior to them or superior to them, but feeling one of them. And so we get to work to transform man the brute to man the man to man the God. This is the eternal cycle of evolution. And so it will carry on. And as one set of human beings evolves to higher consciousness, the lower set of animal kingdoms will push its way to man the brute. Then it will become man the man. Then man the man becomes man the God. When man the God goes into divinity, the lower evolution of plants and animals will become the manimal, man the brute, then man the man. So this cycle of evolution is eternal.
What is love when it is seen from the eyes of a yogi?
When love is seen From the eyes of the yogi, it is compassion on humanity at large and working for humanity as our larger self. We, the yogis, are meditated to the furthering of human awareness. We, the yogis, are dedicated to serving humanity as our larger self. And we, the yogis, are devoted to new life awakening for earth peace healing through self peace healing. This is love through the eyes of the yogi.
Yogiraj, we end every transmission with a segment we call the final trio. Before that, I would love to know, where would you send people to connect with you, with your transmissions, with your work, with everything that you're doing to further the consciousness of this species?
Well, I myself, I'm roaming and wandering like the wandering yogi, but I think could you just tell me the address? He said so. You should send them at Siddhanath. This is one. Send them to my YouTube or website. Siddhanath.org is the name of the website. Siddhanath.org. Is that it for
Beautiful.
both? So that is my website and my YouTube. So they can connect with me from there. But if they want to know the program of in which place I'm in which country, Siddhanath.org program section, the schedule section.
And all of that will be included in the description right under this episode, so they can go directly and connect with you. For this final trio, the questions are personalized to each guest. So the first one that I wanted to ask you today is, and feel free to answer in any way that you want, what has been the most radical unlearning of your path, without which you could not transmit your teachings? So what did you have to unlearn to be able to transmit all that you teach today?
When I was born, I had no ego. But as I grew up, the dust of ego began to collect around me as I interacted with my school friends, my college friends, and as I went through the rough and tumble of daily life. I found that I was knocked about and given blow after blow. And in order to protect myself, I developed this kavach, this shield called the ego, not for my self aggrandizement or sensual satisfaction, but just to know, hey, what's going on? Why did you hit me? Why did you steal my textbook? Why did you report to me to the teacher? And so as we grew on, I had developed this. But then I had to unlearn this ego. Although I had none originally, I developed one. So the greatest thing I had to unlearn was this ego, which I had developed in my school and college days and married life days, because that was the obstacle coming in the way of my transmission and my healing towards humanity as my larger self. And then I always said that in this grueling bout, the world, in this grueling bout of life, two things stand out alone: empathy in another's troubles, courage in your own. And when I started giving empathy to others, helping them, they were bleeding people in an accident. I used to pick them up on my shoulder, take them to hospital. I developed, in place of the ego, a compassion. And this compassion, which is not love. You see, love for the whole of humanity is compassion. Love for an individual person or your family is love. And the crudest form of love, which lusts after women or which is used when you are relating to your wife is called passion or lust. So they're different forms. So we have what is called compassion. And when I started serving others as my larger self, helping them to cross the road, helping, then my ego dissolved. That was the greatest unlearning in my life. Although I had no ego at birth, I had developed this callous shell around me to defend myself during my school, college, and early vocational days. Now I have no ego. I am here to serve humanity as my larger self.
Beautiful. What would you tell the children of today who will carry us into the golden age?
I have told the children of today that the first thing you must learn before being holy or pious is to have courage. Stand your ground. Have the guts. And I tell them because I myself had a certain training, which was martial training, military training, and my dad was strict. I was in a public school, and as you come out of each grueling bout, all beaten and broken and scarred, just have one more try. It's dead easy to die. It's the keeping on living that hard. So, young boys, have guts and determination. Fight the good fight with all your might. Never forget. For if you have courage, courage is a quality that guarantees all other qualities. If you're a coward, all your other qualities of goody goody, bookie bookie, dookie dookie will all run away. But if you have courage, when you move, the earth will move with you. So be courageous and be strong.
And the last question, Yogiraj, that I wanted to ask you today is, what is the one truth about humanity that never changes, no matter what age or yuga that we live in?
Humanity. The one truth about humanity that never changes is humanity. Although everything changes, a human being can become a saint can become a divine being. But the human essence upon which the edifice of the avatar is built, or the edifice of the Sadguru is built, that human edifice never changes. And in order for an avatar to come to incarnate as a human being, he has to wear the cloak of humanity. Without humanity, nothing is possible on this earth. Without humanity, even divinity is not possible, and without humanity, infernity is also not possible. So neither the saint that you seek in the heavens and God that you seek to become, or the Satan that you seek to become, is not possible unless you have the human platform of the beautiful humanity which we are living in today.
Such a beautiful message, Yogiraj. Thank you from the heart for your commitment and devotion to bettering humanity. This whole interview, however we want to call it, really it is a transmission. It was a little bit hard for me because I was having issues coming up with questions because I was in a state, as you said, of no thought, of no thinking. So
yes,
I definitely felt it the whole time. And I know that energy is transmitted either way to those that are ready to receive it. So thank you for being here for us. And
so
I
wonderful.
hope to do this many, many more times.
Thank you too. And you have a wonderful group and a following who are all sensitive people. And God bless them all, and God bless you. And you have all felt the transmission, except in exceptional cases, and the still mind state. And I am here to serve humanity as my larger self. This is my version of love for humanity is compassion, to serve humanity for as my larger self. Om Namah Shivaya.